Hi all. Can everyone see my screen? Okay, more people are entering. Hi all. My name is Aditya Oberai. I'm the software captain at Paly Robotics, and welcome to the software workshop.
So we're going to start off by introducing ourselves. My name is Alan Zhang. I'm the software project manager on the team. And yeah.
I'm Alexis. I'm also a member of software.
I'm Luca. I'm also a member of software.
Hi, I'm Nolan. I'm a junior and I'm also a member of software.
Hi, I'm Vedant. I'm a sophomore and I'm also a member of software.
Cool. So introduce yourselves. Type in the chat your name, grades, school, and favorite food.
If you're just coming in, we just started and we're doing self-introductions. So also, if you need help, just do we have raise our hand? Just like raise your hand or just type in chat and message one of us.
Okay, cool. Nice to get to know you guys. So a little bit more about us. We are Paly Robotics, a high school robotics team based in Palo Alto, California. Our team competes in the first robotics competition. It's a contest in which a group of high school students come together and spend 6 weeks designing, building, and programming a robot from scratch. So every year, this first robotics competition organization creates a new game challenge for us to compete in. This year, the game was called Infinite Recharge. So this video, basically it explains the rules of this game and basically outlines the rules for the game.
Welcome to the 2020 First Robotics Competition, and this year's game, Infinite Recharge. An incoming asteroid shower is aimed at First City. Using Alliance droids, planetary citizens collect and score power cells while traversing the trench run and boundaries to ensure maximum protection with an operational shield generator. Droids start on an initiation line and may be preloaded with up to 3 power cells. Droids operate autonomously during the first 15 seconds and attempt to score power cells into any of their 3 available power ports. While every power cell deposited adds equal charge to the shield generator, higher power ports earn more points. Drivers then control their droids for 2 minutes and 15 seconds of teleoperated time. Power cells are collected from one of the 5 chutes in the loading bay and then driven across the city to be scored in the low, outer, and inner ports. Droids must score the required number of power cells to activate sections of their shield generator, and then either rotate their control panel a specified number of times, or position it to a specific color. Near the end of the match, droids race to their rendezvous point to make their shield generator operational. Alliances are awarded bonus points for a level generator switch. The alliance that earns the most points wins the match. May the Force be with us all.
So in short, basically the game is to create a robot that can pick up as many dodgeballs as possible, and up to 5 dodgeballs, and score them by launching the dodgeballs into a goal 8 feet above the ground. This is the robot our team developed this year for the competition Infinite Recharge.
Oh, now you're letting go. Beating past your feet, pushing on the floor. Ain't nothing better. Oh, now you're letting go. Beating past your feet, pushing on the floor. Ain't nothing better. When these babies on fire, you still got it. You still got it all right. Yeah. When these babies on fire, you still got it. You still got it all right.
What is everybody talking about when they want to live fast, but I'd rather walk it out? We're fighting. Talking about a G, but a spin a G, but a tongue teeth to come out. Now makes me try to get feel like a trout on my wrist or a shot on my wrist with a spider up in it. Everything gotta be 80 and you get the 20%. You know that I get it, I'm on it, I'm in it. If you try to take it, then cook it, kill it. I'm back on my boots like Jordan, I'm pimping. If this is my life, then I'm Tokyo drifting. Oh.
1410 to practice by G8 Paly Robotics. G8 would love to play with you. Game 3245 gracious takes up. Check me out. Check me out. There you go. There you go. 1, 2, 3. Down the line. Down the line. 2, 3.
Yeah, that was our recap video after we won a competition. Excellent performance. So what does software do? In short, software is in charge of making the robot functional. So we have to program the robot to do certain things. Like, for example, we program the ability for the robot to pick up the dodgeballs. We also program the ability for the robot to launch the dodgeballs. We program the ability for the mechanism that moves the dodgeball from the place we pick it up to the place that we launch the dodgeball. So all of that is done by software. So enough about us. How will the software workshop work? So what is programming? Well, programming is a series of instruction a computer follows to perform a certain task. In this course, we'll basically be learning how to program in one of the most useful languages, Python. Our main focus will be teaching you how to code in Python, and we'll set you up with everything you need to start making your own projects in Python. So what else do you need to know? Well, these sessions will be every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the next 3 weeks at 3 p.m. and there'll be 9 sessions. And basically each lesson will be teaching you something new, and we'll be doing projects and everything along with it. And at the end, as a robotics team, we'll be teaching you some specific robotics concepts that we commonly use on the software team. Yeah, and these sessions will range anywhere from an hour to an hour and 45 minutes. Cool. In the next part, Alexis will be setting you up with how to create, test out your own projects, and you'll learn some of the basic stuff like printing, inputting, input-output, and arithmetic in Python.
Okay, so I'll be teaching how to do all the things you just mentioned. So first, we're going to be using a website called REPL.it. It's a website where you can program Python online, and we're going to be using it to test our Python code that we write. So first, we're going to go to REPL.it. Just type this in your browser, and we're going to use it to so just go to REPL.it right now. Just go here. Okay, is everyone on REPL.it? Okay, then we're going to create an account. So first, click the sign up button in the top right corner and use your school email to sign up. So you have like a pusd.us email account, right? So use that to sign up and like create like a password and a username, and then click sign up. Wrong email. So now you should be at this page. Is everyone at this page right now?
If you need help, just message one of us in chat.
Does anyone need help right now, or is everyone also at this page? Is it good? Okay. Now we're going to create a new REPL. A REPL is like a project. So to create one, you're going to click the new REPL button right here in the top right corner. And for the language, you're going to click Python, and you're going to give this project a name. So you could just call it first project or whatever you want to call it, and then click create REPL here. So you should be at like a page that looks like this. Is everyone also here? Okay, I'm going to assume everyone is here. Okay, how the yeah, okay, go ahead. Yeah.
If you don't have an account, yet, just message me directly in chat and I will be able to help.
Okay. So you should be at a page that looks something like this. So how the REPL layout works is you would type your code in this white box like on this left side of the screen. And if you want to like execute your code and like make it do what it's supposed to do, then you click the green run button at the top here. And this blue half of the screen is called the console. And if you print something or like do something with your program and it displays information, then that information will be printed out here on the blue side. Okay, printing. So printing is when you like display information to the console, which is the blue side of the screen. So to print something, just type the word print. It has to be exactly like this, like with the lowercase p, just type print and then put parentheses after that. And inside the parentheses, you would put what you want to print. So for example, if you want to print a word or like a phrase, you would put it in the parentheses and put quotes around it. So for example, if you wanted to print the phrase hello world, then you would do it like this. So for example, I'll show you an example. So if we try making that code here, it would be like this. And you have to put the parentheses and then you click the green run button up here and it runs and then hello world gets printed. So printing is making something be displayed to the blue side of the screen here. So this is how you print something. So for your first activity, yeah?
Alexis, can you slow down a bit?
Okay. So for your first activity, try printing your name to the console. Okay, wait, doesn't Zoom have like a thumbs up thing? Like, can you guys like do that to like, or does it have it? Does it not? Okay, well, then should I just assume that everyone?
Some people are raising their hands right now, or sorry, giving thumbs up.
Oh, okay. So can you like put a thumbs up to show that you're able to do this? And if you're not able to do it, then just ask one of the other teachers. So again, once you're able to print your name, then just put a thumbs up so I can see that you're able to do it. Okay, is everyone done? So what you should have done is in the parentheses, you should have typed your name. Like for example, my name is Alexis, so I would put Alexis here and I would put it inside quotes and inside parentheses. And then I click run and then my name gets printed here. Okay, that's how you should have done it, but you should have like put your name instead of mine. So what are variables? A variable is something that stores information. Some examples of variables are strings, integers, floats, and booleans. Strings are any combination of letters and numbers. For example, your name would be a string, and like the phrase hello world would also be a string. An integer is any whole number like 1 or 2. A float is any number that has a decimal point in it like 1.5 or like 2.2. Those would be floats. And those three can like be any value that is like within the thing, but a Boolean only has 2 possible values. It can only be true or false. So to create a variable, you would just pick a name for your variable. It can be any combination of letters. So once you have your variable name, you just type your variable name equals, and then the value of what you want your variable to be. So for example, strings, you need to put quotes around it to show the program that it's a string. So you would, if your variable name is ABC, then you just say ABC equals, and then in parentheses, you say this is a string, or whatever you want your string to be. And to create an integer, you don't put quotes. Quotes are only for strings. So if you want to create an integer, you just, if this is your integer variable name, just do def equals and then just the number 10. Like make sure to not put quotes. If you put quotes around, it would become a string. So just type 10. And for floats, it's pretty similar to integers. You would just do 1 equals 1.5 with no quotes. And for Booleans, you would just type true or false, and the T or the F would be capital. So just type it like this, JKL equals true with a capital T, and you would also not put quotes around, or else it would become a string. Does this make sense to everyone?
If you guys are having any problems, just unmute yourself and say you're having problems.
Yeah, okay. So printing variables. So if you assign like a value to your variable, and now you want to see what value a variable has, you would just type print like the same way we did before, but before we put quotes around. So instead of putting quotes, you still have to use parentheses, but you just type your variable name inside the parentheses. So an example of that would be, if you have a string and your string is hello world, then that's the value that the word string, the variable string, the value is the string hello world. And then if I want to print this, then I would just type print string with the parentheses, and then it'll run, and then it'll print the content of this. Because when I say string here, it refers to this variable. So it would check what the value of it, the value is hello world. So that's what would be printed. Okay, so let's talk about strings. So like I said before, to create a string, you just create your variable name and then equals, and then you put your string in quotes like this. So like I said before, strings can be any combinations of like characters. So it could be like this string could be like anything I want. Like if I just do it like that and then I print this string, then it'll print whatever I assign it to, like that. Does this make sense to everyone so far? Okay, cool. If you want to change the value of a string, then you can just add on to the end of the string like this. So if my string is hello, and I want it to say hello world, but right now my string is just hello, then I can just do A equals A plus world. And what this program would be doing in this line is the current A value is hello, so it would be hello plus world. So when you add two strings together, they just get put next to each other, so it would become hello world. And we can just test to make sure this works by printing A before and after we add it. So see, when you first do it, it's hello, because when you print this time, at this point, A is just hello, but after adding world, it becomes hello world, because the program just goes through each of these lines in order, and it just prints what A is at that point in time. So when you're at the second line here, A is hello, so that's what it will print. But when you're on the fourth line, you've added world, so it becomes hello world. Okay. So like earlier, I also explained how to create integers. You just do your variable name, equals, and then a number. Integers have to be numbers like this. So an example, also I recommend like doing this at the same time I'm doing it, just to make sure like you understand how to do it. But so just type the same code that I'm typing and like make sure it works on your computer too. So for example, since it's 2020 now, I might want to have a variable that shows what the year is. So I do year equals 2020. And then if I print year, then I get 2020. Does this make sense to everyone? Okay, cool. And floats are also pretty similar to integers. So you just do the same way. So I might say like, since it's July, I might say 2020.7, and then I can print it and it'll just work pretty much the same way. So the only difference between integers and floats is that floats have a decimal point in them and integers don't. They're like whole numbers. And these are some like examples of floats. Okay. And Booleans only have two states. They can either be true or they can be false. And it can't be anything else, or else it's not a Boolean. So for example, my Boolean might be true. You have to do it with a capital T, like this, and no quotes around. And then you can just print, and you can get the value. And then I can also change the value of the Boolean. So if B is true, but I want to change it to false, then I just say B equals false. Then I print it again. And see, like I was able to change it because at this point in time, B was true, but after changing it to false, it's false here. So that's why it becomes false the second time. Okay, you can also use Python as a calculator to do like math. So for example, as you can see in this example here, you can do 1 plus 1, and then if you print it out, it becomes 2. So an example of that would be like A equals, you can do like most types of math, you can do it in Python. So for example, you can do multiplication, and to do multiplication, you would use this star thing, this asterisk. So I could just type A equals 2 times 4, and then I could do print A. What do you think A is going to print? Yeah, it's going to print 8. Yeah. So you can, like, if you don't feel like using like a calculator, or if you don't have a calculator, then you can just open up Python and do this. Yeah, okay. And you can also create variables like that. Like this is what I did. So A equals 2 times 4. So you're creating a variable with math. Okay, like everyone is like understanding this so far, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Good to know. Okay. Remember, if you have any questions, you can just feel free to just say it out loud, or if you don't feel comfortable with that, you can also ask in the chat or anything like that. So, because I just want to make sure everyone is like understanding all of this. Okay. So when you add two integers together, for example, I could have A equals 1 and B equals 2. So A and B would both be integers, right? Because they are integers, because 1 and 2 are numbers. And there are no quotes, so it's an integer. Then if I print A plus B, what do you think this is going to print? It would print 3, because when you add two integers, it adds the sum of the two integers. But if I want to add strings, then like I showed you before in the hello world example, if you have a string which is C equals hello, D equals world, what do you think this would do if I were to print C plus D? Well, you can't add like words because there's no way to add words. So when you add strings, what happens is they just get put next to each other in the order that you add them. So if you click add, it will become hello world. But if you print D plus C instead, the order gets reversed. So what the variable that you put first is what comes first in the resulting string. So see, if you do D plus C, it would be world hello instead. And you can only add variables if they're the same variable type. So for example, you can add a string to a number. That just doesn't make sense. You can only add strings with other strings so that you can like put them together to make a longer string, or you can add integers with integers to make like a number, but you can't do like, you can't mix the types. Okay, now we're going to learn about like input from the user. So to take input, you would create a string, but you would put parentheses around the string and then put the word input before it. So the string is the prompt that you would ask the user. So the structure that you would use for this is you would say your variable name equals, and then you would just type the word input, and then you would open and close parentheses. And inside the parentheses, you would put the string that, like the prompt that you would want to ask the user. So an example is if you want to ask the user what their name is, then you would do it like this. If X is my variable name, I would do X equals, and then like I said here, you have to put the word input and then string in parentheses. So I would do exactly that. So input. And then in parentheses, because it's a string, so you have to use quotes again. Input is, what is your name? That's what I want to ask the user. And let's see what happens when I run this. See, here it asks me what my name is. So, and it like gives you like a chance to type something. So I can just type my name here and it can do something with like that information. That would become the variable X. So the value of X would be whatever the input that the user gives. That would be X. Okay, so your X would automatically be a string. So for example, if I were to ask, what is your age? Then your age would always be an integer, right? It would be a number because age is a number. But that doesn't work because X is, they automatically assume that for input, the input is a string. So if I want to convert it to an integer, I can just make another variable and I can convert it to an integer like this. So to convert a string to an integer, you would put parentheses around the string, like the variable name of the string. And then you just put the word int in front of it, int, it's short for integer. So you would do this, for example, y equals, so y is the new variable, which is the integer version of x. And you would just type int, and then in the parentheses, you would put x because x is what you want to convert to an integer. So now if I were to run this, and if I said my age is like 14, then x would be the string 14, but y would be the integer 14, if that makes sense. Okay, let's talk about errors. So if something is wrong with your code, then an error will be printed to the console. So for example, like I said before that when you print something, like if you were to print hello world, you have to put these parentheses around, right? So what happens is if you don't put the parentheses, is you get an error. So this is the error that I would get. Basically, if it's like red and it looks something like this, that means you did something wrong and the program can't understand what you're trying to say. So to solve this, you would just look through your code and find the error. Here, I realized that my error was to forget the parentheses. So if I put the parentheses, then it runs. So if you get an error, then that means you did something wrong and you have to look at your code and try to find what it is. So this is kind of what an error would look like. Okay, does that make sense so far? Okay, cool. Okay, comments. So a comment, it doesn't change what your code actually does, but if you want to put like notes in your code, that would explain what you're doing in a certain place, because sometimes like your programs get really like big and complicated and you might forget what you were doing in a certain place. So to prevent that, you can put comments. And to put a comment, just put a hashtag and then say whatever your comment would be, and then just the rest of your code. So I'll just show you an example. So I might want to print the number 2020, right? And then here, I might not know what I'm doing here, so I would put the hashtag, and then I would say, here I am printing the year. And then I run it and it works. So maybe later, if I look at my code, I might forget what I was doing, but I see this comment, so I'm able to remember what everything does. So I'm able to see this and be like, oh yeah, I was printing the year here. But if you forget to put the hashtag, then you're going to get an error because it won't recognize what this means. So you have to put the hashtag to tell the program this is a comment, so you can just ignore whatever is on this line. Does it make sense to everyone? Okay, cool. Okay, for the next few practice problems, create a new REPL project for each question that asks you to code something. And again, we're going to be actually like coding here. So if you get stuck, just ask for help in the chat box.
Yeah, you can also, you can message any one of us privately. Or
Yeah,
if you
or
want to just unmute
yeah.
yourself.
And also like just feel free to like just ask like with your voice if you want. Because yeah, okay. So if you have just a general question, you can just ask in the chat or you can just say it. But if the question is about a specific problem in your code, like you can't figure out why your code isn't working, then this is what you would do. You would want to share the code with us so we can see it and help you figure out what the problem is. So you go to REPL.it and then you click this blue share button in the top right corner. Does everyone see that right now? It's right here in the top. So I just click share. And then I would scroll down to where it says copy. And I just click copy. And this copies this link. Then you can go to the chat and then you can paste the link there with your question. And if you do that, we'll be able to also like go into your REPL and see what you wrote. And then we can help you figure out the problem. Okay. So actually, before you guys do your own projects, we're gonna do some code with me projects. So how these are gonna work is I'll be writing the code, and I'll be explaining why I'm writing what I'm writing. And while I do that, I also want you guys to create your own REPL and just type exactly what I'm typing, and so you can understand why I'm doing what I do. So first, everyone, if you don't have a new REPL open, get one open right now, so we can code these projects together. Okay, so I'm assuming everyone has a new REPL open right now. So our first project that we're going to code together is we're going to ask the user what grade they're in, and then we're going to tell them what grade they will be in 3 years from now. So let's do that. So first, we have to think, how would we ask the user something? Well, to ask the user something, we would use the input that I explained earlier, right? Because that gives the user a chance to like give input to the function, like the program. Okay. So I would use input. And for the variable name, I'll just use grade, because grade would be like the input, which would be the user's grade. And then, like I said before, input has to be, you have to type the word input, and then in the parentheses, you have to put the prompt that you want to ask the user. So what's the question that you would want to ask the user that they would answer? Well, you want the answer to be what grade they're in. So the question you would ask is, what grade are you in? So in the parentheses, you would type it exactly like this. What grade are you in? So everyone has this line written, right? And understands like what it means. Okay. Now you want to tell them what grade they will be in 3 years from now. So if you want to find out what grade they'll be in 3 years from now, you would want to add, right? So you would want to do grade plus 3. But remember, grade is a string right now because the input is automatically a string. So you'd want to convert it to an integer.
I'm still writing their code.
Oh, do you need more time? Okay. Okay, so does everyone have this now? Okay. So you have to convert grade to an integer. So like I said in the previous slide, to convert something to an integer, I'll just do maybe x equals, and then you do int, and then in parentheses grade, like this, because this is how you convert it to an integer. And then you just want to print out what grade they will be in 3 years from now. So you would just do print x plus 3. And this would print out their grade plus 3. Let's see if this works. What grade are you in? I'm in 9th grade, so I would say 9. And then it prints out 12, because 9 plus 3 is 12. So that means in 3 years, I'll be in 12th grade. Okay, so why don't you all like try running your own programs and see if it works correctly. Okay, does everyone have this project working? Okay, I'm gonna assume everyone does. Let's move on to the next project. So the next project is to program a calculator that finds the result of this equation, and it prints it out. So I'm also going to make a new REPL for this because I don't want it to interfere with the old work. So we would want to program a calculator that finds the result of this equation. So first I'm gonna just copy this and then type print. Okay, let's see if this works. So remember, you can just do like arithmetic in Python like this. So you can just print it out directly like this. You can just type the equation. See if it works. It gets negative 204.4. So this one is a pretty simple project. Like I said before, you can just put the math equation directly into the print statement and it'll be able to print like this. Okay, does everyone have this? has this project done. I'll give you guys some time to work on this. Okay, I'll move on for now, but if anyone else still needs help, then just ask one of the other people, I guess. So for the next one, we want to write a program that prints out the addition of two inputted numbers. So for this one, we have to actually ask them for two different numbers, and then we have to print out the sum of them. So first we would ask for input, right? So because you want to ask them what the number is, so you would say first number, for example. And then X would be the first number that you give them. And then you can do Y equals input, second number. So now these are two different input things, so you can add them together. So first, then you can just do print X plus Y. Do you guys think this will work? Well, let's give it a try, I guess. Let's say my first number is 2, and my second number is 3. Then the answer that I want would be 5, right? Because 2 plus 3 is 5. But when I run, it doesn't work. It gives me 23. Okay, let's think about what the problem could be with like why I get 23 instead of 5. Well, if you remember, when you add two integers together, you get the sum. So, but if you add two strings together, you just get the two strings next to each other. So that's the problem with our code. Because X is the string 2 and Y is the string 3. So when you put the string 2 and the string 3 next to each other, it becomes 23, like 2, 3, like this string. So to solve this, we want to do it like this. A equals int of X and B equals int Y. This would convert them to integers. Then we can just, instead of printing X plus Y, you can print A plus B. And then if we try it again, then it works. Okay, so I'll give everyone like a moment to finish typing this, I guess. Okay, is everyone also done with this? Okay. For our next Code With Me project, we're going to ask the user what their favorite color is, and then we're going to print, I also like the color, and then their color. So for example, if the program might ask, what is your favorite color? And I might say blue, and then the program should say, I also like the color blue. So that would be an example of how this program works. So again, we're using input. So first I need to create input. And again, in the quotes, you would put the prompt that you want to ask the user. So in this case, it would be, what is your favorite color? That's because that's the question I want to ask the user. So X would be, so for example, if the input that I give would be blue, then X would be the string blue. So that's what X would be. So now your next task is to print out, I also like the color, and then whatever color they said. So to do that, you would just print, I also like the color. And then you want to add this to whatever color they said. So that would be X. You would want to add it to X because X would be the string blue, for example. So if I add two strings, remember they just get put next to each other. So if you put I also like the color and then you put blue next to that, then it would be I also like the color blue. So let's see if this works. See, the program asks, what is your favorite color? Say blue. And it says, I also like the color blue. So that's how it works. And if we also try with like a different color, I might say red. And then the program would say, I also like the color red. Okay, the last project is to, okay, it's to print, actually we're kind of running low on time, so we can just come back to this later, but for now, we're going to be doing projects. These are like individual projects for you guys to do on your own, so first we're going to ask the user how old they are now, then tell them how old they will be 5 years from today. That's your first project. And then the second project is to ask the user what their name is, then greet them using their name. So for example, the program might ask, what is your name? And you would say your name, like my name is Alexis, so I would say Alexis, and the program would say, nice to meet you, Alexis. So this is also, the second project is kind of similar to the favorite color one that we just did. So if you need hints with that, you can just look at that. But for now, why don't you guys try doing these two projects? So I'll give you about like 10 to 15 minutes to work on these projects.
And if you need help, feel free to ask any one of us for it.
Now that a good amount of people are done with the projects, we're gonna move on to Kahoot. And yeah, we have a Kahoot game for you all. So let me just start that. Okay. Go to Kahoot.it, start a game, and then enter the game pin on the screen on my screen. Oh.
I can't hear the Kahoot music.
Counselors should probably not be playing.
Is there anybody not in right now who wants to meet him?
Okay, we're gonna start now. Yeah, so integer strings and booleans are all types of variables. Functions are not. Yeah, so this was kind of like a bit of a trick question. When you're writing print, they all have to be lowercase. So in option 1, which a few people fell for, there's a capital P, and it should be lowercase. And yeah, the other two have some sort of issue with them. Yeah, so booleans can either be true or false. They can't have 3 possible states. So yeah, they're either true or false. Cool, no one got that wrong. Okay, so for it to be an integer, you cannot have quotations around it. The red option and the green option both had quotation marks around it, which made it a string. So the red and the green options were both strings, and only the blue option was an integer. Cool. Most people actually got this right. So it's actually printing out a string here, right? It's printing out a string with the value, with the characters 2 space plus space and 2. It's not actually printing out the value of 2 plus 2. So yeah, actually, yeah, most people got that right. Yeah, so it's just asking for print 2 plus 2. So you're adding 2 integers, therefore, like actually adding the 2 numbers, which is why the answer was 4.
What would cause it to look like 22 is if you typed print I get your link. I shall read it in all chat. Print 2 plus 2, like that.
No one got that one. Nice. So x equals true, that's a Boolean value, not a string. For it to be a string, it needs to have quotation marks around the true. Oh, so yeah, it has quotation marks around it. That means it's a string. If those quotation marks were removed, it would become an integer. Okay, cool. Congratulations. And yeah, that concludes the first software Zoom lesson day. Thanks everyone for coming.
If you
yeah.
want to review these slides before our next meeting, we will post this recording on YouTube, and there will be the slide deck in the description also.
Thank you all for coming.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, have a nice day, everybody.
Bye.